And so this way we can show you, you know, the front. You can see inside. You see how the boards in the back go vertically. A lot of people say, "Oh, yeah, that's right away a certain area." Not true. Not in our experience. It was done depending on how the apprentice, in most cases, that's what the apprentice would do. They would put the drawers together, they would put the backs on, and the cabinet maker would carve the fans. You know, he would do the finish work. And so the vertical boards came more so out of the Boston area, whereas in Connecticut we use a lot of horizontal boards. So we tend to find locations, but it is not definitive at all. Except Boston, we tend to see more vertical. That's about the only place, I think, that you can say for sure that more so.
And are the doors non-different boards on the top? Does that mean that?
Okay, so Leslie asked if the boards on the top of the do not match the boards on the bottom, does it indicate a marriage? No, not at all. Because the top boards are basically fillers. There's no structural or very little structural support from the back. They're, in fact, let me turn this around.
Whoa.
Where's Vanna when you need her?
One is vertical and the other is horizontal.
No, there's a purpose. You see, there's so little structural support there. It's really just the back of the piece, keeping the dirt and the dust out, the smoke out. And there is a little bit of structure depending on the way the cabinet maker chose. But for the most part, on the top of, and we're going to call these highboys or high chests. They were called high chests in the 18th century, and then sometime in the 19th century they were called highboys. But really, in wills, their descriptions are really just high chests. You see, they're just put it on a dado, and they're just not even nailed. They're just loose. They're just hanging in there. So, but when we see the bottom, you'll see that the bottom has structure. It's part of the structure of the piece that holds it together. And it doesn't even have to have the same wood, because this is just white pine. No structure, it didn't need strength, and so it's not unusual for the top to be white pine or a lesser quality wood, but the bottom often will be maple or chestnut that had some strength because of the weight bearing and the construction of it.
Back in color?
No. No, in fact, if you remember back from our first, by the way, this is our 53rd forum. In issue number 1, we said, the topic was, how do you know it's old? And one of the first things we showed those, if they're still coming, is the scratch test. And I'm going to take my fingernail. You see the little mark I just left on that? Because that is pure surface created by smoke, dirt in the house, aging of the wood. If it was stained, I would not, or painted, I would not be able to do that. That is pure color. That is pure aged color of what it looks like being exposed to the air and the environment versus the inside, which is the same exact wood, likely from the same tree that's been inside and not exposed to the air. So you can see how much it has changed in color simply by exposure to the elements. So that was number 1 lesson, the scratch test. This is a great test for people to know. And we, by the way, we still do it. It's a great place to start.
What about the beveling? On the back?
Okay, Okay, so if you could see inside here, this board has a channel, right? And the channel goes up, round, and so by beveling, or chamfering is another word, that little bevel would fit right in. But now, look what's happened. The board has shrunk. It literally has pulled itself away from the channel. So there's no strength there at all. And that's why it's loose. But you know, Kevin has a great name for this. Beauty marks. We love to see that. That's really good, you know? You don't want to see a 20-year-old face on an 80-year-old body.
Be careful.
The one consistency that you do want to see between the top and the bottom on the backboards is the color. Because the top and the bottom have lived together for all 200 years, the color should match from the top backboards to the bottom backboards, generally. If they're different woods, if the backboards on top are pine and on the bottom are maple, you're going to get a slightly different color, but it should have a consistency. And one thing that we do see from time to time is a graduation of color, darker on the top and lighter on the bottom, as there was more smoke and kind of surface debris in the air. As it aged, sometimes you get this graduation of color. We tend to see it more on clock cases than we do on highboys, but that consistency of color from top to bottom is an important indicator of originality.
So even though the top board, it is maple in this particular highboy, it's usually white pine or lesser wood, but he decided that because he was dovetailing, he wanted good strength. He didn't want the pine to maybe get damaged. So look at the consistency of color. Even though it's two different woods. Okay? And then everything should be sort of consistent. See the color of the back of the cornice molding? And it should be pretty consistent all the way around.